All right, guys, welcome to another video. So I've been waiting to make this video since I started my YouTube channel. I started my YouTube channel December 1st last year, so 2023. So we're coming up on 6 months now. And the title for today's video is, can a younger account fight at the Imperium level? So at the time when I migrated over to 2268, I had a little over 2 billion kill points, 2,091 million, and I almost doubled that. I ended up getting past that 2 billion mark for this KVK. So I feel like now I can actually make a video and talk about it, right? So I remember when I was migrating, my kingdom, for the most part, it was a rising star kingdom when it was younger, and then it was for the most part like a mid A seed before it fell apart. When I migrated, I remember asking some of the fighters in my kingdom, hey, would you like to go with me to 2268? And the general response I got was, no, I'm not ready for that. That's like the competition level is too high, right? And I remember at the time thinking in my head, I'm like, I don't know, I don't think so. But until I can actually go to 2268 and prove it, I couldn't really talk about it, right? So now I can actually talk about it. So looking back, well, quick recap of this KVK. I think the official stats, you know, the end of the season stuff will come out in a few days. I ended up a little over 2 bill KP, 2.3 million deads. As far as like trades, KP was like 2.2 to 1. As far as sev wounds, it was like about like 1.6, 1.7 to 1. So overall, as far as KP, I think I'll end up being like the top 1%. I think I was somewhere between 20 to 25th in 2268, and then about top 40 as far as the whole KVK is concerned. All right, so some thoughts about finding at an Imperium level. Now, before I go further, I have to acknowledge this is not like the highest Imperium, right? Like there's a couple Imperiums in this kingdom, but that's partly because the Imperium line has dropped so low. I wasn't fighting against 1960, right? But I was playing with a lot of players that did just fight against 1962 KVKs ago. So kind of a degree of separation, but I feel like I could still talk about it. So if you're a younger player, you're thinking about going to a higher competition level or like an Imperium kingdom, the amount of KP you can get is going to be higher. And part of the reason why is just because people have more resources, they can fight longer. You generally get more well-organized kingdoms, better fighters, and you know, like when a pass opens, the fighting's not going to end in a day, right? Same thing with same thing with Kinsland. It's going to last a little bit longer, so the potential for getting KP is a lot higher. Now, at the same time, because you're playing against better players, you're not going to be as efficient. It's going to drain your resources and speeds a lot more, and it's a lot more mentally demanding, right? So the last video I made where we talked about our loss, for the zone 7 where we were just kind of trying to burn through a fort wall, I'll say on average I played somewhere between like 8 to 10 hours a day, sometimes a little over 12, sometimes a little bit less, but for 10 days I was about the schedule. Then we had about a day and a half, 2 days of downtime, and then Kinsland opened, and then for 3 days of Kinsland, I think I was averaging about 15 hours a day. Like I still don't feel fully recovered now, right? It's been about 6 days. It was just like very little sleep. I remember my body was like aching, you know, that's probably not very healthy. But if you do, especially for a younger player, just because your equipment, your commanders and all that stuff, like even iconic crystals, you're not fully caught up yet. You're going to be playing a lot more players that are further ahead. Just they have more time to accumulate all this stuff. But as far as whether the equipment and stuff is good enough, that threshold isn't really that high, you know. And before I guess continue further, just to quantify this, when I say competitive at this level, I'll throw out an arbitrary number. Like, can you get like 1 billion kill points in a KVK at this level, right? For me personally, this was the 7th KVK for me. I think I could have actually hit that on in my 5th KVK. So let's actually go over this real quick. So this is something I actually made December 1st, or a little after December 1st for my equipment on December 1st. If you go look at the very first video on my channel, it was an account review, and this is where I pulled it from. And you can see, if you're watching this, right, maybe you're a little younger, you don't quite have this yet, but a lot of players have way better equipment than this, right? So if you have better equipment than this, you could fight at the Imperium level. Doesn't mean you're going to be like you're going to dominate like you can at a lower level. Just when, you know, it's just because there's more bad players, there's more players with not as good equipment, but this is actually good enough to fight at the Imperium level. Now, you're going to have to struggle a little bit until you catch up more, but if you think this is something that you can match, I think you can actually fight at that level, right? There's a player in our kingdom, his name is Bay. I saw him on a pod with Plato, right? His account is about 6 months older than me, so I'm also coming up on about 2 years now. So you can see right here, 707 consecutive days logged in, so not quite at 2 years. His account's about 6 months older than mine. He migrated over to 2268 in KVK 4, so which is very, very young. And before this KVK started, I remember seeing his account age and then seeing like he was a little under 10 bill KP. It was very, very impressive. And part of the reason was because when he came over, his first KVK was actually against 1960 as a KVK 4 player, right? And he got a lot of KP from the last 2 KVKs. Well, this last 3 KVKs, right? So you'll get a lot more, but also you're gonna have to work a lot harder. So to kind of like tie this up, if you do plan on, like, if you can, you know, because I know there's a lot of young competitive players, you know, those are the ones that tend to message me for coaching and stuff. If you're thinking about it, I think you could do it. I think for most people, you could probably get there about KVK 5, KVK 6. Some might be able to squeeze it out like being KVK 4. And I don't even think you could do that before KVK 4, right? But definitely by KVK 7, it's more than good enough. And it doesn't mean like my equipment and armaments and all that stuff is at the top level, right? For like the kill events where you know, like when like a pass opens or something, there's an enemy elimination event when everyone's pretty much on and fighting. I noticed my KP per hour just couldn't keep up with some of these other players. Like Plato, he ended up getting like 1 bill KP in a day. He was about double my pace, right? Like no matter how much I was fighting, he just seemed to be doubling about what I was getting. And if you guys ever seen his equipment, it's way further along. His account's just a lot further along. So obviously you could get more competitive. You'll be more efficient. It'll be easier. Your kill rate will be higher. But as far as being competitive at the Imperium level, I think for me personally, I could have done it at KVK 5. And this is more like a message for you guys. If you are considering it, I would say just take the leap. I would say for most people that are considering fighting at the Imperium level, if you're willing to go pretty far in Crystal Tech, and you can match what I have for my KVK 5, I think you can actually have fun and be competitive here. What you don't want to do is have something worse than this, and then you're essentially just the KP that everyone else is farming, right? But even this, I think, would have been good enough to get about 1 bill KP in this KVK, and this was from 2 KVKs ago. You can see I was running Mina McMed, right? Like even this KVK, I was still running Mina William, which a lot of people made fun of. I had a lot of commanders I maxed, right? You can even see a couple blues there, even though it is a blue shield, which is supposed to be pretty good. But this equipment set was far from complete. So if you are interested, I am actually part of migration now, and part of where I have a soft spot for is like younger fighters. So I think I have a lot of potential. I'll put the link to the Discord in my description. If you're interested in migrating, feel free to actually hop in there and submit an application. Can't promise anything. I think we have limited slots right now. But if anything, plant a seed. You know, maybe if it doesn't work out this KVK, love to actually fight with like younger, hungrier players and the next KVK. So again, thank you for watching. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time.